The public space in which we live is constantly altered in subtle ways in order to control the way we interact with our environment. Ultraviolet lights have been used in public toilets to prevent drug users from seeing their veins to stop them from injecting themselves with drugs. CCTV cameras have been installed as an attempted way of monitoring and preventing crime. Yet more recently and more controversially, changes to the environment around us have been carried out with the intention of controlling where homeless people stay or sleep. Hostile architecture is a term that has been recently used to describe numerous structures that are created and added to public areas in order to make the said area unusable in a specific type of way by specific types of groups. This video concentrates on the Camden Bench, the reasons behind its establishment and the problematic ideas that its creation implies and establishes for the homeless in society. This video discusses the symbolism of the Camden Bench in urban space and its political implications. There are many types of hostile architecture, but there are many types which are specifically aimed at controlling where the homeless can sleep. One infamous type of anti-homeless architecture that can be found in London is the Camden Bench. The Camden Bench was created by the company Factory Furniture, who state on their website that they specialise in contemporary street furniture design. Their website boasts that their award-winning bench was specifically created to prevent antisocial behaviour. For example, there's a space underneath the bench to allow individuals to put their bags comfortably behind their legs in order to prevent theft, but additionally there are no small slots on the bench so that drug users cannot attempt to hide drugs. The design claims to be a safer place to sit, cleaner, more inclusive and easy to relocate. It is designed to be cleaner as there are no flat surfaces or slots where litter can build up. The surface is also able to repel dirt, water, graffiti and posters. Interestingly, the website claims that part of the Camden Bench's design is for it to be more inclusive to sit down. The curves of the bench actually do not allow for comfortable sitting, but more to lean against or perch. This aspect is very controversial, since the various curves of the bench do not make it completely comfortable to sit down, and even less comfortable to lie down. This is not inclusivity, as it demonstrates that this bench was designed to prevent the homeless from comfortably lying down. The Camden Bench is easy to relocate due to the lack of need to anchor it, but the website highlights that it is easy to move away from problem areas. It does not define specifically what a problem area is, but taking into consideration the reasons as to why this bench was designed and commissioned by the Camden Council, it can be implied that their definition of a problem area is where possible antisocial crime and behaviour such as drug taking and graffiti occurs. The bench attempts to deter rough sleepers, but this does not stop people from sleeping rough, it just makes them sleep rough somewhere else. A lot of time, thought, money and effort are put into creating these structures, but instead these could be invested into helping to get rough sleepers into homes. At the same time, the causes of homelessness are not addressed. If the causes of homelessness were addressed, they could be prevented so that homelessness does not occur in the first place. Yet currently there is not a lot in place to prevent homelessness, and when it does occur, the correct solutions are not in place. The government could invest more time and money into education so that individuals could become educated and get a job. Housing should be more affordable so that people have a chance to own a home and not live on the streets. This would reduce the chances of people falling into debt and leading to homelessness. There should be more job opportunities with better wages so that the homeless can afford to get off the streets. But currently wages are low and house prices are high, so this is not always possible. Other factors such as divorce, bereavement, homophobia and racism should be dealt with compassionately, and schools and hospitals should be educated on dealing with these circumstances. However, there is not enough concentrated help for these factors. Additionally, this criminalises homelessness because it is grouped together with antisocial behaviour such as drug taking and graffiti. This dehumanises the homeless. Therefore, the Camden Bench is problematic, as it symbolises a powerful message of moving the homeless along rather than helping them get off the street or preventing homelessness from occurring in the first place. Homelessness is not only a social issue, but is now become a geographical issue too. Anti-homeless architecture has been outlined through gentrification of the city and urban restructuring. This means that the city is trying to rebrand itself. Part of this means covering up homelessness, as a rich and powerful city would not want the outside to see homeless people on the gentrified streets. The problem with hostile architecture is that it does not directly solve the problem at hand. Instead, it pushes the problem to one side. This becomes political as hostile architecture sends out a strong message of wanting to push homeless people out rather than wanting to help them. It sends out the message that the city and the government does not want to help the homeless, they just want to sweep them under the rug. Instead of helping the homeless get off the street through giving them housing, employment or education opportunities, hostile architecture such as the Camden Bench is used to cover up the problem and push homeless people to a different area. In regards to homelessness becoming a political issue, the government have done little to prevent and aid the homeless and have put more efforts into covering up the problem, such as how the Camden Council specifically commissioned for the Camden Bench to be made. Homelessness has increased since the Conservative Party have been in power. Specifically amongst those with mental and physical health problems, homelessness has increased by 75% since 2010 when the Conservatives first came into power. This is also seen amongst families with children. In 2017, it was estimated that 4,751 people had slept without shelter overnight in England, which was an increase of 15% compared to the previous year. London had a rise of 18% compared to 2016, and the capital city hosts nearly a quarter of rough sleepers in England. This is no coincidence. Firstly, it shows that anti-homeless architecture such as the Camden Bench does not work. It does not stop people from being homeless and sleeping rough. Homelessness and the amount of rough sleepers have increased. They continue to increase, but they find somewhere else to sleep rough. It shows that the government is not investing enough into helping the homelessness, and they feel they have other priorities. For example, there is enough to fund the royal wedding occurring in May 2018. In fact, Simon Dudley, Conservative leader of Windsor Council, where the wedding is taking place, wrote to the Thames Valley Police asking to get rid of the homeless before the royal wedding occurred. He used very negative language in this letter, calling the homeless vagrants, beggars, and claiming that homelessness was a choice. The fact that people still think this way in society indicates that there is not enough help for the homeless. It goes back to the point that the government wants to get rid of the homeless by sweeping them under the rug, instead of providing them with shelter, work, education, basic human rights. To conclude, the Camden Bench represents hostility of homeless. The only solution to homelessness is giving the homeless a home. Hostile architecture does not do this. The Camden Bench symbolises negativity towards the poor. It highlights the divide between the rich and the poor. The rich do not want to help the poor. The money used to fund structures such as the Camden Bench could instead be invested into education, housing and employment, but political influence does not allow for this. Therefore, the Camden Bench does not represent a solution to the problem of homelessness, it represents a cover-up of the problem. The Camden Bench represents the criminalisation of the homeless due to categorising it with illegal actions such as drug taking and graffiti. It implies the belief that homelessness is a choice. Nobody willingly takes to the streets, it is usually a last resort. Hostile architecture such as the Camden Bench makes it even harder for the homeless to come to terms with their already difficult situation. It narrows their already slim options down. It puts these already high-risk individuals in more danger, as their chances of finding a warm, comfortable and safe place to stay are reduced further. The Camden Bench and other homeless architecture has caused more problems with the outlook of homelessness, and it is reflected in the view of the government.